So,
Yeah, it's old legs, sorry.
our legs. So, Donovan, why does the 100 meters captivate the imagination of the world? Why is it the focal point of the Olympics and the World Championships?
Wow, a tough question. First of all, thanks for having me. I think that I've spent a lot of time in Jamaica now, and it's certainly an honor to be here to have a conversation with you and to share my story a little bit with the audience. The 100 meters, I think it's the holy grail of track and field. It's the biggest show. It's when the world stops every 4 years to see who the fastest human being on the planet is. I think that Jamaica has had a very storied history for producing a lot of them or us, and I'm sure we'll continue.
So, I mean, on that note, yourself, Donovan Bailey, Linford Christie, Asafa Powell, Johan Blake, Usain Bolt, dominant male sprinters in the last 20 years, all from Jamaica by birth. Is this nature or nurture?
I don't know. Let's take a survey of the audience, and because you know what? I don't know. One of the greatest things about track and field and the storied history in Jamaica is that the immense grassroots program that we have here on the island, and the fact that the island is thoroughly in love with the sprints and is the reason why it is that I think we dominate. The reason why it is that culturally we're always going to dominate. The environment. There's one of the great things about what's happening now is that we have a lot of when I was competing for Canada, a lot of the athletes here left and went to America for track and field scholarships and so forth. And what's happened is that at the highest level now you have some incredible coaches that have brought. You have some incredible coaches that essentially has kept the talent here, and also one of the things that Linford and I were actually having a conversation about this in London during the Olympics, during the past Olympics, and what probably makes us very proud is that there's homegrown talent, and also we're seeing the Jamaican flag flying. I mean, because we were competing as proud Jamaicans, but of course we were in other countries by choice.
Yes. So, when did you first realize that you could do this, that you could actually be the fastest man in the world?
You know what, I don't know. To tell you the truth, I think that I'm from an incredible infrastructure. My mom's a strong black woman, and my dad was the militant one, so essentially it was just about success for us. So anything that I wanted, and anything that I wanted to achieve, it was just about me giving it my all. I can remember grade 11 chemistry. I was a pretty decent student, and I came home and I had 96, and the conversation for the whole night was what the hell happened to the other 4%. So I think that success was something that was embedded from a long time ago. And it was whatever it was that we pursued. It was expected that we were going to be successful. Most people don't really actually recognize that my mom's never seen a track meet ever, even to this day. And my dad saw one track meet, and that was the finals in Atlanta because he expected nothing more.
So let's get into that a little bit. Your father was not excited about your pursuit of athletics. Right? Just to broaden the conversation a bit, how important is parental validation for success?
Well, I think that, it's the utmost. I actually recognize whether or not my dad supported me in sports or not, the expectation was success. So if I decided to veer off business, because after university, I was a banker and had a couple of successful businesses. But when I decided I was going to get rid of that and go to track and field, and my dad and I had a conversation about what I was doing being a runner, he did not actually recognize that years later I was essentially the CEO of Bailey Incorporated, which is now a brand. It's a global brand. It's a company. I just happen to be running to actually get to that place. So until he actually recognized that, it was completely irrelevant to him. And to this day, he still thinks I should go to law school, which is, I've been retired for many years, so it's kind of bad.
So, I mean, achievement of any kind often requires making choices. What are some of the difficult choices that you have had to make in your career as an athlete, as a businessman, as a financier, as an investor?
Well, I think that to be successful, first of all, it takes a lot of discipline and focus. It takes a lot of hard work, and even more importantly, it takes a lot of smart work. Because I've been on both sides where, I thought of making some incredible investments and they end up being ducks. And I'm sure that everyone, which is a few people here, or maybe not, that have done those. But it's actually very important to surround yourself with the right people. Surround yourself with people that, the team that's going to essentially get you there. I think it's very, very important that, I'm from a good family. My dad's very strong, and my mom was, like I said before, but even the friends that I have, they were all people who are very ambitious, and also people that were pushing the limits in whatever it is that they were doing. And essentially, one of the things that we always do is essentially push each other to that place where you know that you can get to that next level and move the bar and progress.
So, I mean, on that note, sprinters, like boxers, thrive on self-confidence and self-belief, which are generally recognized as prerequisites for success of any kind.
Right.
But the question for you is there such a thing as too much confidence? And when does self-belief become detrimental to one's goals?
Man, as a 100-meter guy, I don't know how to answer that question. I think that when success becomes obsolete, then too much self-confidence is obsolete.
Right. You have your reaction there. You mentioned teamwork earlier. Your athletic success has been as an individual, even though you have also succeeded as a part of a team.
The relay, yeah.
The relay. So what are the strategies that you find useful to motivate teams that you have to work with, whether in business or otherwise?
Well, I think that, the whole saying is that you lead, you follow, or you get the hell out of the way, right? So I think that from a team perspective, I think it's very important for you to actually set the bar yourself, put in the work, show your work ethic. And the people around you will actually, if they don't gravitate to you, then they don't belong on your team, so get rid of them. And so essentially, you have to be the bar. You have to get up every day. And in business or in sports, for me, I got up and I did what I needed to do because I want to be successful. And I think that my teammates along the way actually understood that there was a standard in which it was expected of them to come in the door. And if they decided they're going to slack off, then they were not going to be part of it.
So by example.
100%. It has to be by example. I mean, if you're sitting back shouting orders, a lot of times you're going to end up not getting where you want to be because essentially what you have expectations of something, but you're not showing it yourself. So clearly the people around you are going to see this, and they're going to say, well, he's okay. I mean, clearly he's very settled in what he's doing, or she, or whatever, and they themselves are going to see you being settled, and they'll settle for what it is that they're getting, and therefore, I mean, it becomes, the situation and the environment becomes stagnant.
Yes. So, as you mentioned, you were once a stockbroker, a banker working on Bay Street, right?
Bay Street, yes.
Essentially. And which is an unusual path for someone who's going to become the fastest man in the world. What are the parallels in your mind between sport and, on one hand, and business and finance on the other?
I think that, I really think that it's a very same thing. Because if I didn't get up every day and practice what I preach and understood that I didn't really know nothing. I mean, one of the things for me, even to this day, is that I am a constant student. And I'm always learning. I'm always learning from people who know more and know better. whether or not old or younger. I mean, especially in the 21st century now. I mean, there's a whole lot of things that my 18-year-old daughter is teaching me that some of them I don't really want to know. But all in all, I must learn it because it is what it is. But I think that the parallels are very, very simple, and they are and equate to each other. I mean, it's if you do not know how to run your life, then certainly your business is going to suffer, and whatever other endeavors you're trying to pursue also will.
So speaking of your daughter and youth, as a former, don't hang your head, Donovan.
Oh, I love her. Okay. Apple of my eye, man, but she's 18. Yeah.
So as an elite athlete, one of the things that you've presumably experienced early in life is change, because as you grow older, your body changes, and you're accustomed to performing at a particular level, and suddenly you can't do it anymore. How does one prepare for change in life?
I think that if you set no limits for yourself, at some point you are going to understand that you have reached your limit. I mean, I think if your body starts breaking down, and I mean, I retired from track and field, being the most dominant sprinter, for the 10 years or for the time that I competed, which is essentially what Usain is doing right now. And when he retires, he'll be the same. And at some point, you're gonna see some young guy just chopping at your heels, and you're gonna say, okay, you know what? But you have to understand, and if you have unlimited ideas or unlimited ideals, at some point you must be satisfied with what it is that you've achieved. I mean, it's like going to school and getting an MBA or doctorate or whatever. And if you set goals and you set massively achievable goals and you get those things, then clearly, even if you're bored, there's other things for you to be excited about. Since retirement, I find myself as a philanthropy. I mean, I'm involved with Big Brothers and Sisters of Canada. I've been with them since I was 16. I volunteered with them since I was 16. I've been their spokesperson now for probably 22 years. It's a mentorship program that essentially we help out young kids across the country, having a lot of them from single-parent households, but as number 4 of 5 boys, there was never a need for any more mentorship in my house. So, but in saying that, I understood what was meant to actually have someone who was looking out for you, might beat you up sometimes, but definitely looking out for you. And essentially someone that was there who would guide you when you're veering off. So I think that I find stimulating things that will always help me. I mean, the competitiveness that I had on the track, I sit on 6 boards, so that gets interesting sometimes, as you might know, and so that's fun. And I embarked upon a new gig. I invested in a winery last year. So
really?
Yeah. So I invest in a winery in Napa, and we're gonna do some wine. So this is another very interesting thing, and I've always liked to do unique things. So these are things that I'm saying, when you get to a certain level, you must understand that there are going to be other interests. Right. I'm also a terrible golfer who thinks that I can be better.
So growth prepares you for change.
Absolutely, and I think that your surroundings and the people you are, the people that you're around, the surroundings and people that you are actually will enable you to actually find things that will pique your interest.
So does superlative achievement of the kind that you have had carry with it the obligation to be a role model?
Okay. You know what? I think that someone in my position, and also a lot of the athletes that are household names to everyone in the audience, I think it definitely lends itself to some sort of obligation. I think that I still think that role model, my father is still my role model. And my father's my best. My father is my best friend and my role model, and he's the guy that I can look to and like essentially aspire to be like. But I think as athletes, we do have some obligation as public figures to just try and do the right things. We are all humans, and we do make mistakes. I've been there, and I think that there's some. But I think ultimately, it's when I grew up, it was my parents and the village essentially. Uncles, aunts, teachers, elders in churches. I still think it's from a grassroots perspective, it's still
community.
Yeah, absolutely. Still those. The structure of home is still number one. But I think as athletes, there is some, but clearly you can't blame your kid being bad on him watching TV and seeing someone behaving badly.
So what, Donovan, would you say are your greatest strengths?
I think my greatest strengths and my greatest weakness is the exact same thing. I have very little patience, and I have less tolerance than patience.
But you're
So
saying that
it's tough to live here, is what I'm saying to you, man. I'm getting a lot of gray hairs, but yeah. Because I think that if I set my mind to something, I put the blinders on, become focused, become disciplined. If it's school, I'm going to study. I want to graduate before everyone. I actually want to get ahead of myself. I mean, if it's in business, then I do the same thing. You're around people who actually, are very well studied, and also people who want to achieve something, set timelines, set goals. So I think essentially my weakness and my strength is the same thing, and the ability or the want to achieve something in a timeline that I set, and something not competing against someone, but essentially in a timeline that I set that would probably get us to that place and let us move on to something better or different.
what does the future hold for Donovan Bailey?
The future. Wow. I think I try to live for today. I mean, I set some goals. Okay. I think I set some goals. As I alluded to earlier, there are lots of goals that I have, some small goals that I have. But today, I have 2 kids, so I think my goal today is to be the very best father I can be. I think that from a business perspective, I mean, to do all I can to give back as much as I can, lend my time as much as possible, being here and being part of this, and prepare myself for tomorrow. I mean, obviously, I can't just live for today. I realize that there might be some people clapping when I said live for today, but it means that if you got $10 million, do not spend it today, because tomorrow might come and you don't have a dime in your pocket. So yeah, so essentially, I think living for today, being a good parent, taking care of the responsibilities that I have in front of me right now, as well as preparing for something, preparing and continue to aspire to bigger and better things, and think of avenues as I get older that might pique my interest.
Donovan Bailey, thank you so much.
Thank you.